Welcome back to the Wedding Buzz. Today's episode is going to be kind of a fun little behind the scenes episode because I feel like people don't know really what wedding planners do and that we just show up with a clipboard and fluff your dress. And yes, we do fluff a lot of dresses, but there is a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. A lot of problem solving, logistics, crowd control, and preventing chaos before the couple ever notices it. So today, I want to talk about all the random things that wedding planners do on your wedding day so you don't have to. I actually had a meeting with a mom this morning, and it was exactly that. She was like, I just don't want to be the one doing all the things on the wedding day. And she was like, I don't even know what there will be to do, but I don't want to be the one doing it. And I agree. She shouldn't be the one doing it. It is not just a special day for the couple, but it's a very special day for the families as well. And moms should be able to sit back, relax, and enjoy just quality time with their daughters or their sons and not worry about all the other little stuff. So let's talk about all the little things that wedding planners do behind the scenes on a wedding day. And some like she saw the value and was like, I don't want to do all this stuff. Other people genuinely are like, they don't know what wedding planners do on wedding day. And so let's talk about it. Every single wedding has little fires to put out. Every wedding, no matter how much planning goes into it. If anyone tells you that they're the best planner ever and there are zero fires on wedding day, they're lying. They're lying. Every wedding will have little fires to put out, and that's okay. Even if you plan all the details, things happen. I think a big part of my job is being able to adapt and problem solve on the fly. Even the super organized weddings, things happen. Honestly, especially luxury weddings, because there are so many moving parts: vendors, timelines, transportation, family dynamics, weather, setup, breakdown, drunk people, late people, missing people, all of it. All of it. I've personally driven back to hotels or to the bride's house or the parents' houses because people forgot their shoes or vow books or their veil or cufflinks. One time a marriage license almost got forgotten, which is honestly every wedding planner's nightmare. And usually while all this is happening, I'm also coordinating about 15 other things at the same time. I do want to say, thank God, I have a lovely team with me. If you look at my website or social medias, you'll see the lovely girls that I have on my team. And people also ask, why do you have a team? Because of this. Because honestly, at this point in my career now, when you forget your vow book, I usually send one of my team members back to your hotel so that I could stay present with you, with all the guests, with all the vendors. And that's why I have extra people, extra hands on deck so they can run back, get your vow book, get your marriage license, do whatever needs to be done. And the show will continue. Half the time, people don't even know that it has happened. Like I have had brides not even know that I drove 30 minutes or that my assistant drove 30 minutes back to a hotel or this or that to make things happen. It's just seamless. And that's what we're there for. Weather. Let's talk about it. I wish I could control the weather, but I cannot. I always think about in the that 70s show when Michael Kelso was like, Jackie, I can't control the weather. That's how I feel. That's how I feel sometimes when people are like, I don't want it to rain. I was like, I'm always like, me either, girl. Me either, but I can't control the weather. But what I can do is I can hold an umbrella in the pouring rain while I'm trying to keep the bride dry while I'm soaking wet. I can tape down signs because Florida wind, especially when I do oceanfront weddings, the wind is crazy. So I'm always taping down signs or putting little weight on things just to make sure that they're not falling over, and trying to keep the ceremony arch standing upright during especially waterfront ceremonies. The wind is just crazy. I'm usually not the one physically making sure that the arch is standing up, but I'm checking it. If if I see a company setting up an arch, like a floral arrangement or something, or a big wooden structure, I'm always looking at the back and making sure that it's weighted down. Because if it's not weighted down, we're going to have an issue. A lot of the time, there's one venue that's right on the water. We literally tie the arch there's a railing. We tie it to the railing. We use little fishing line, and we tie it to the railing. And then one thing that I always do is I bring the officiant to the front and I say, hey, look, there's fishing line here. When you step to the side for their first kiss, because I always remind them, step to the side for their first kiss, don't run into the fishing line. So those are little details that I don't think any of my brides ever have known that I do these things on wedding day, but it's important. It's really important because one, we don't need things falling over, and two, we don't need the officiant running into fishing line. Um, so there's, just little examples of things that we do. I monitor weather apps, like my life depends on it. My dad, he doesn't really do it anymore, but he was a pilot, like just for fun. He had his private pilot's license, and so he got me onto the fancy weather app that the pilots use, and that's what I use. I have a subscription. I pay for it because I track those storms like my life depends on it. Because honestly, on wedding day, my life does depend on it, and so does yours. And trying to make game time backup plan calls without stressing the couple out. I never want to just like go to the bridal suite and be like, "Hey, it's raining. Hey, it's storming," and like I'm not showing her the weather app until I have to. The other thing with weather backup calls is we can't make that call 20 minutes before ceremony because it takes time to set everything up. The other thing is I had one wedding. It was in May in South Florida, right on the beach. The morning, it was beautiful. Blue skies, sunny, gorgeous. I'm looking at the weather app. The afternoon, literally the exact time of the ceremony, is showing like monsoon. Absolutely storming. And I was like, what do I do? Talking to the florist, this bride, the color of flowers and all that she wanted was like really bright colors. And the florist had dyed some of the flowers or like bought dyed flowers. And so she was telling me that she's like, if I put this out and it rains, the dye is going to run all over the pavement. And like it was on this like patio with like white floor. And she was like, that whole floor will be purple and the flowers will be ruined. And so I was monitoring the situation. And while it was sunny and gorgeous outside, I then had to go to the bride and be like, we need to move your ceremony inside. It's going to be terrible storms all afternoon. And she was like, why? It's sunny outside. And I was like, this is what the weather app is saying. And she was like, can we wait? And I was like, we can. I told her, like, I don't like spring it on the bride. I was like, we can wait about an hour. And then we have to make the call because the florist needs a few hours to set everything up. We need to put out all the chairs. We don't want to put all the chairs outside and then it's raining and then your guests are arriving as we're schlucking chairs inside. Like that's not a good look. So anyway, this day my heart like broke because it was sunny outside and I had to tell the bride like, I need to move it inside. Like just trust me. And she was sad because she wanted like a beach wedding and we ended up having to move it inside. When I tell you, as she was walking down the aisle inside, the sky outside went black, absolutely thunder, lightning, like so badly storming outside. And I was like, praise God, I moved it inside. Can you imagine if I had 100 people sitting out on the beach and it started lightning like that? I mean, it's not an easy thing to just shuffle people inside and redo a whole setup. The whole day would have been off course. So I wish I could control the weather. I cannot, but trying to make game time backup plans and game time calls with the weather is something that I definitely do. And I try to do it without stressing people out. So I don't really tell the bride until I feel like I have to, but it's also that balance of I never want to spring it on the bride. So I gently kind of be like, hey, just so you know, I'm watching this. And at this time is when I'm going to have to make a call. So she's kind of expecting like, you know, that we are going to have to make a call, but not to like freak her out. It's a tricky balance and I don't like it. And make sure you always have a plan B for your wedding if it's going to be an outdoor wedding. And make sure that you like the plan B because that was part of the problem is that the inside space, she was like, it's an ugly room. I'm like, that's the room that they have it. So make sure that your venue has a plan B that you're actually okay with. Let's talk about floor plans. Let's talk about floor plans. The amount of times that I show up and the floor plan is somehow wrong, even though I literally sent a floor plan, it's wild. And most of the time, like the floor plan that I sent, they have it printed out in front of them and it's still set up wrong. And I don't know why. And I mean, one time I was like, hey, the bar is supposed to be in this corner. And the person was like, yeah, I saw that, but I don't like it over there. And I was like, I didn't ask you. Like, this is what the venue coordinator approved. This is what the bride approved. This is what I approved. So the setup crew can please set up the correct way. And I don't mean to sound like nasty when I say that. I was very nice about it, but I just thought it was funny that this like setup person was like, I don't like it there. And I'm like, I didn't ask you. So although we send a floor plan, it's just one of those things that like you think like I sent the floor plan, it'll be perfect. And then I show up and I'm like, it's not perfect. So fixing that is something that I do. Again, the bride never ever will know. I don't go tell the bride, hey, they set the room up incorrectly. No, I'm never going to tell the bride that, but it's one of the things that my team and I do behind the scenes. And I keep saying me, this is like wedding planners in general. You know, good wedding planners will do all of these things. I'm not just trying to toot my own horn. I also could not do any of this without my amazing team. So shout out to them. Missing tables. Sometimes the floor plan will be like, there's 10 tables. I show up, there's only 9 set up. Why? I don't know. A lot of the times we have very specific chair counts at each table. So like table 1 needs 8 chairs, table 2 needs 9 chairs, table 3 needs 10 chairs, whatever it may be. I'm always counting chairs, or I send one of my team members, and their job is to count the chairs and make sure that every table has the correct number of chairs and that the place cards are matching. Um, Dance floor, making sure that it's put in the correct place, that it's the correct size, that it's centered in the room. You have no idea how often things are not centered in the room, and that drives me crazy. So just double checking all these things, that the table numbers are correctly numbered. Um, yeah, fixing all these little things before the guests walk into the ballroom, and making sure that when the guest sees, hey, I'm at table 5, that they can easily find table 5 and they will easily find their chair, and that everything matches up. So this is also really important for brides and grooms to communicate with me in advance and make sure that there aren't last minute changes. I have had that where I checked everything according to the last list that I approved with the bride. And then she's like, oh, I changed it this morning. I forgot to tell you. And I'm like, well, now it's not correct, but it's okay. That's why I always have like a few extra chairs. We easily can get a new table setting. And usually if there is an issue, it's again, just put that fire out. Tell the guests, I'm so sorry for this, mix up. Give me just one moment. We'll fix it. Tell the staff we rush out a chair, a charger, the flatware, anything that they need, we fix it. And it's usually like maybe the people that one table will be like, oh, something's going on. But other than that, the show goes on. The show just absolutely goes on. We fix the problem and we move on. But clear communication in advance will avoid problems. Um, we put out place cards. I was just kind of talking about that. So we make sure that every single person has their correct seat. That can be time consuming on the wedding day, especially if it's a big wedding, 100 people, 150 people, 200 people. That takes time. Again, sometimes people ask me why I need a team. I'm like, because I don't have like an hour by myself or more to just go put out all the place cards. So I have a team that helps me and we get it all done. The menus, place cards, the favors, signage, candles, any of that little stuff that we are putting out. Typically my team will handle like your personal items such as these like favors, menus, place cards. And then of course a florist will handle the main decor pieces. Sometimes people add in like extra candles that they want me to place, maybe around like a memory table or a welcome table. And I'm happy to put those things out for my couples as well. Straightening chairs. I straighten lots of chairs. I don't know why they're never straight. They are never straight. So straightening chairs drives me crazy, especially long rectangle tables, like for royal tables. If you have a head table where your whole wedding party is sitting or something, those chairs need to be straight. It drives me insane when they're not straight. So I'm always fixing, straightening chairs, making sure that the linens are straight, that they're touching the floor, that the chairs are pulled out to the right depth, I guess you could say it is. So you don't want chairs too far away from the table, but you also don't want the chairs like pushed under the table where it's causing the linens to be wrinkled. So these are little details that I'm always, as I'm walking by, I'm always like, fix chair, fix chair, fix chair. But again, the couple never knows. Like the couple doesn't know that I'm doing that. But if I didn't do it, it would make a big it would be noticeable. Does that make any sense? Like, when you walk into the room and it looks perfect, you're, like, not thinking, "Oh, someone must have, like, really made sure that these chairs are straight." But if I didn't do it, if we didn't go through and make sure that the chairs are straight, you would walk in and be like, "These chairs are crooked." Then it's noticeable. Um, Lighting candles and relighting candles sometimes, just with the AC will turn on and blow out a candle if it's outdoors. Sometimes wind will blow out a candle. Or sometimes drunk groomsmen like to blow out candles. So I'm always trying my best to relight candles throughout the night as I can. I also carry tape, scissors, command strips, zip ties, safety pins. My emergency kit deserves its own episode. I think I did an episode where I talked about my emergency kit, but I do have a big suitcase. I look like I'm moving in. But it has lots of medicine, tape, scissors, tools, all the things, because you never know what's going to pop up. Then there's the wedding party management side of things, which is basically babysitting. It's basically babysitting, but it's okay. I've babysat a lot. I love kids. So I'm herding family members for photos. When nobody knows where grandma went, my team and I are going to go find grandma. Sometimes I'm like, show me a picture of who it is and we'll go find. Even if I don't have a picture, I have gone through cocktail hour being like, "Hey, I'm looking for Susan," and whoever it is, and I go wrangle them and bring them back. Because again, you and your family are all dressed up. You don't want to be running over to cocktail hour to get the right person and hurting family members. So my team and I are there to help with that. We usually try to wrangle them in advance and have little powwows earlier in the day to let them know, hey, we need to be here at this time, to avoid these situations. But sometimes people don't listen, and that's okay. Finding missing groomsmen 5 minutes before introductions because they disappeared to the bar. They always forget that they have to do the introduction. So I am wrangling them and trying to get them to line up in a straight line. Um, Corralling drunk bridal party members. That is definitely part of my resume. I should add, that should be a line in my resume of corralling drunk bridal party members. But hey, someone's got to do it and it's all good. We do it. I have a team. We divide and conquer and we make it happen. Pinning boutonnieres because they're the worst. They are the worst. I've been doing this for a long time and they're still the worst, but I will do them. And I bustle dresses. I don't just fluff dresses, but I bustle dresses. If you can remember at your final alteration appointment, get a video of how your bustle is done. Because what happens is that the person shows you, oh, there's just like these clips and you hook them here and it's easy. And you go, okay, great. And then on the wedding day, when I'm like, hey, how many hooks are there or how many buttons? Like, what am I looking for here? And if they don't know, I can usually figure it out, but it goes a lot faster if you can either send me a video in advance or at least tell me like there's 5 buttons. I know 5. I'm like, okay, great. I know I'm looking for 5. Um, Sometimes bustles are done different ways, so it just is really helpful if I know what I'm looking for. Um, but again, sometimes there's like a sister or a bridesmaid or a mom is at your final alteration appointment and they look and they're like, oh, okay, you just hooked that there. And they're like, I got it. Good. And then on wedding day, one, they're in a dress and heels and they don't want to be like kneeling on the ground, trying to mess with your dress, you know? Um, and sometimes like your mom is talking to guests or your sister is talking to guests or like, like they might not be right there when you decide, hey, I really want my dress bustled. I'm tired of dragging it around. The person who's there is me. So it's very helpful if I have that video in advance. But anyway, bustling dresses is something I do. Don't just fluff them, but I bustle them. Um, Other things that I do, transportation. I'm always talking to the transportation. A lot of times the venues are hotels. Or in downtown areas where sometimes you can't just like pull up front and sit and wait. So the transportation has to like circle or go park in like a grocery store parking lot or something around the corner. And so I'm in touch with transportation on, hey, okay, bride is here, please come up. Or vice versa. Of sometimes I have brides who don't do a first look and they don't want to be seen before the ceremony. Let's say it's like a church ceremony. The bride will be in the car and I'll tell them like, go park somewhere. And when I have the wedding party lined up and the groom is like, not maybe down the aisle, but at a point where he's not looking back. All the guests are seated, like groom is ready to go down the aisle. Then I'll call the transportation and be like, okay, circle back, bring bride, and like get ready to bring her out of the car and down the aisle. Sometimes I feel like the Secret Service, we have like earpieces and I'm like, Eagle. Gosh, I'm so cringy. But anyway, it's true. Those are things that we coordinate that don't seem like a big deal until on the wedding day. It is a big deal. It is a really big deal to make sure that that timing is perfect because brides usually don't want any of the guests to see her before she's walking down the aisle. And if they don't do a first look, she definitely does not want the groom to see her before she walks down the aisle. Um, I touched on this before, but family photos, sometimes they take way too long. And so I always am doing what I can to not rush that along, but like hurry that along. And so when let's say the photographer is currently photographing the bride's family, I'm turning to the groom's family and saying, okay, groom's mom, groom's dad, groom's siblings, are you here? Line up. You guys are ready to go. You're on deck. And then I'm like, okay, the next grouping of people is going to be the bridesmaids. So they're ready to go. They're on deck, which also, if we have very clear communication prior to the wedding day and you give me all of these groupings, all of their names, it helps be really smooth. So on the day of, I'm doing roll call. I'm saying, hey, I need Susie, I need Bobby, I need Tim. And I can get everybody lined up while you're off doing something else. So again, it's just a clear communication and good planning, and it helps the wedding day go a lot smoother. And it might not be really noticed, but if I don't do it, then it's noticed. Because when it's not done, then it's a mess. And that's when things are unfortunately noticed. Um, so behind the scenes, I'm quietly like rebuilding timelines in real time because sometimes, things take longer than they should. So I'm on the fly, like, all right, let's bump this here, let's bump this here, in touch with the photographer, the DJ, the caterer, the venue. That's another thing with catering is I'm always in touch. For example, you don't want catering to plate all the salads, put dressing on all the salads, and then it sit for 30 minutes. You don't want a room temperature salad that's soggy. That's horrible. So as we're doing pictures, I'm in touch with the caterer being like, hey, we're on schedule, ready to plate at 6 p.m. Or, hey, don't dress the salads yet. They're running 5 minutes behind. I'm in touch behind the scenes with the caterer, the DJ, because the DJ, again, I'm like, hey, keep playing like um, cocktail hour type music, or okay, seat the guests, or, okay, I have the wedding party lined up. They're ready to go in the room. Like that takes a lot of communication that you don't want to be doing on your wedding day. And neither does like your family, your mom, your sister, like nobody needs to be doing that on the wedding day. And a lot of times, like the bride, the wedding party, you guys don't even have your phones with you on the wedding day. So it's like, how, if you're lined up out here, how are you supposed to tell the DJ, like, yes, I'm lined up, ready to go? Like, it's just messy. You need someone in the middle that is able to communicate and make sure that things are smooth. So a lot of my job is timeline, logistics, just keeping the train on the tracks. Half my job is emotional support, keeping everybody calm, making nervous brides breathe. A little trick, it's kind of funny. If you eat sour candy, it like shocks your brain and it helps your nerves, but make sure that you don't eat like a lot of sour candy is dyed like bright red or bright blue. And you don't want your tongue to turn like bright red or bright blue right before you walk down the aisle. So be careful. But if you eat a little like Sour Patch or something, sometimes it can like calm your nerves. I'm not good at science. Don't ask me. But sometimes I'm getting the bride a little sour treat right before she walks down the aisle, just to shock her brain and keep her calm. Handling family tension. Not sometimes, a lot of the time, there's divorced parents and bride's mom and dad haven't seen each other in 20 years, and now we're supposed to all get together for family photos, and it can be messy. And do we have, bride's mom's new husband in the photos, but bride's dad's new girlfriend? Is she allowed in the photos? Is she not allowed in the photos? That can get a little dicey. I always like to talk to my couples prior. Tell me everything. Give me the tea. Tell me everything so I know and so I can figure out how to kind of handle the situation and keep everybody calm and happy all day long. Because what I really want to do is protect the couple's energy. what happens when mom and dad start fighting is bride gets nervous and upset. And that is what I do not want. So if I can kind of jump in and help keep the peace, keep mom happy, keep dad happy, keep everybody happy, the end result is that bride ends up oblivious and happy. And that's what I want on wedding day. Sometimes people just need a confident, I've got it. I've got it. Because people look around like, what's going to happen? And when they see me and I'm like, I got it. I'm on it. Trust me. You enjoy. I'm on it right now. They can just breathe. And it's I think that that's relatable in life in general of when you have someone that you can trust, you can lean on and you have some help, it always makes you feel better. And your wedding day is definitely the day that you want someone to dive in, help you, have someone to lean on, and you need an I've got it person. And that's my team and I. We are definitely I got it people, and we do everything in our power to say yes to you on wedding day. We will do a lot to try to say yes and make you happy on wedding day. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think of other things that we do behind the scenes, but the funny thing about my job is that if I do my job correctly, the couple has no idea half of what's even happening. They don't even know. And sometimes that's hard for me to explain, like what I do or what I did all day. But if the couple kind of doesn't know everything that I did, that means I did a really good job. I know I had one thing that I think I was saying earlier when I like ran across town for something and I didn't tell the bride. And at the end of the night, one of her bridesmaids was pretty drunk and she was like, "You don't even know. Sydney went all the way across town and blah, 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 blah." And the bride was like, "What?" Like she had no idea. Which I was like, I wasn't going to tell her, but it's okay. You should feel relaxed, taken care of, and present on your wedding day instead of worrying about where the chairs went or why the DJ can't find the bridal party or any of these other things. So next time you see a wedding planner walking across a ballroom with a headset on, just know something's probably on fire somewhere, but she's about to put it out. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. It is serious, but it's a little lighthearted of just some of the funny things that wedding planners do on wedding day. The point of it is just you want someone in your corner that's going to do absolutely everything possible to make sure that your day is smooth sailing. And although you have your family and your best friends there, and yes, they also should do everything in their power to make sure that your day is smooth sailing, you want them to have a good day too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.